Good morning for some, good afternoon for others. Today is about the eBoard app for Visual ERP. We are now in version 24.3. Our first release was back in 2014, so this is pretty exciting. And I'm glad to have everyone here to see what this app offers. So welcome. The eBoard app, or our main goal basically with all the apps we have, is to create something simple, beautiful, and provide happiness for visual users one app at a time. So it's such an accomplishment or satisfaction that we feel when we can get to a result so faster and with good solutions. So that's why we feel that that is the way to encourage us also on the development side. Today, I'm hosting the webinar. My name is Valeria Vico. I'm a financial consultant with BMS 365. I've been doing this for 2 decades now or more. And with me is also Fabian, who is in charge of the development and doing a lot of duties as well in the company. So version 24.3 of eBoard is about report builder, improving the way we're getting the information, the financial information basically, provide more visibility, more capabilities in terms of account analysis, and also provide a graphical view, which we know that graphics help a lot when we have to visualize a position or a number on a certain area. So we're putting a lot of effort on improving the dashboard side as well. So there are 3 pillars here. We want to increase visibility of Visual ERP financial data, increase speed of gathering that information, and also increase the usage of that information for better decision making. So most of the time, the challenge is to see what we need to see. I was talking to a client the other day, and she actually said, well, how can I know if I don't see? And exactly, that is the key. You need to be able to see what is key, what's important, in order to make a good decision and move to the next step or solve a problem, right? So that is our purpose with these apps as well. So I'm going to go to the app. I'm going to go through the demo. The application has a lot of modules, but we're going to focus on a few of them today. So the eBoard app is specifically designed for Visual ERP. So this is a financial application for visual manufacturing. We have been working with Visual for more than 2 decades, and that is what we know best. So it's not a software that we try to adapt it to anything else. It is for Visual ERP. So you turn it on and it works with your Visual. We don't have to do much. It is very easy to install. It takes about 15 minutes to half an hour to get it installed, and then to configure it is another few minutes as well. And it's an application that works right away. It is unlimited users. It works per server license, and we have a multi-site version or a single-site version as well. So the first module that we see here is the financial report viewer. We can build reports through the app and also view them through the application as well. So if I go to the report list, there are 3 reports that come with the application: the balance sheet, the income statement, and the trial balance. They are built based on your GL structure. So again, once you install the app, those 3 reports will be already pre-built and you can use them right away. Now, if you want something else, we have to use another report. We have to use the report builder, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. So the reports, once we load the reports, I'm showing now an income statement here. Every time we see a blue dot next to a number, next to a value there, it means that it's a posting level account. So I can double click and drill down. I can analyze or check the information. I can export this to Excel and analyze it in Excel if I want. But I can also go to the next level. So in this case, it's a receivable invoice. So I am able to see the actual invoice through the application. It can show as many fields as you want. So for example, in this case, we've added this feature in the latest releases, show multiple references and split the references in columns. So I could actually see the references in separate columns. That allows me to search, filter the information, and basically find what I'm looking for. If I'm looking for any a specific number or invoice in this case. So the filters that the report or not only the reports, the drill downs and all the other screens that you will see in the apps are very Excel-like. So similar to the other apps. So if you're using the inventory app, for example, you can use the same features. Any little funnel there is an Excel-like filter that allows you to find any type of information. So this financial report is it also compares the values to the budgets. If you have budgets in Visual, then you can create comparative statements. You can print the previous years. There are a lot of features here that can be used on financial reporting. But how do we create a report? Well, we can create a report through using 3 different methods. We can start from a report that we have already created. So that would be going to the report list and highlight the report I want. So if I want that income statement, I can duplicate it. So because, as I mentioned, the income statement that comes by default with the app is based on your GL structure, your parent-child relationship. But if I want to use a different GL structure, I may want to start from the same spot, but just make a few changes. So that would be a reason to start with duplicating a report. The other way is to use a report template. We've added templates here so that you don't have to think too much about the structure, the skeleton of the report. You just clone a template and you add your own GL codes. So for example, if you want to create a quick GP analysis for a certain product line, you just use that template and you add your own GL accounts to it. And the other way is to actually create a report from scratch, which I've done here on the screen, but I can quickly show you how to do it. So the idea is to start with a new income statement, and the first step is to give this report a name, and I can say tests VB. And the next step is to create a subtotal for that report or a main total. So if I want, for example, to track any IT expenses. So imagine that this is a report, and this is one of the purposes of the app, is to give access to financial information to non-financial users. So you save time in finance. You don't have to do your report analysis anymore. The actual users of that information have to do it. So I'm going to create a quick expense report for IT, and I'm going to grab certain account. So for example, I'm going to add travel and other account. So I can just do that, or the other way is to drag and drop the account in there. So I can copy and paste, I can drag and drop, I can use my keyword here to find any other account that I need to add to the report. And again, I can just copy and get it into the report. Once the report is done, we save it, and we can now see it on the report viewer. Now, I can also give permissions to that report because I'm the administrator of that report. I'm the one who created it, so I don't need to call IT for that or have the sysadmin password. I can just do it myself because I'm the creator of the report. And then the next step is to go to the report viewer and get to the report list, and we should be able to see the report that I just created and loaded on the screen. Okay, so, and again, the same features that I saw on the other report are available here. I can drill down, get to the transaction details, and or to the summary first, and then to the actual transaction. So without having to use visual at all. So again, the users, other users of the financial information, but not who do not belong to finance, can now have access to their expenses and control their budgets. That is a huge advantage for companies these days. So, and then the next module or sub-module within Finboard is the general ledger. This general ledger allows you to see the whole GL activity for the entire GL, or for an account, for a specific account, for any period of time. So you can start from the beginning of your database to today's date, and it will show you all the activity. You can filter, you can group by. So for example, if I want to have a summary by batch type, I can quickly do that. I can find any information through the reference document. So I can just filter again and use a keyword to find anything related to a specific invoice, payment, check, you name it, anything that is in the database. And you do not have to actually open Visual and go through multiple screens. Everything is right here. I can also create dashboards. Remember that one of the objectives now for us is to provide even more visibility of this information. And the graphics tell a story. They're very, very useful. So on any of these screens, you can now build your own dashboards and have a summary of any area of your GL you want. So that is a summary of the general ledger and the Finboard and the report builder. Remember, any of these screens can be sent to Excel. So if particularly the general ledger is something that is very useful when you have to share information with external people. So if you have auditors, if you have external accountants, sometimes exporting from Visual, it's CSV file that does not align columns properly and you have to massage the data. This one will just export your GL like that to Excel, so you don't have to do any manipulation. So let's go to the next module. Well, the next one in between is the financial audits, but I think the focus for today was to show the other modules. But if you want information on this, just let us know. These audits help you basically reconcile accruals, AP, AR, cash, and also develop your own audits with the audit editor. One of the newest modules we have added to the entire application is the month end. The month end module allows you to track your month end progress. The challenge I think companies have, based on my experience though, is that once we start using Visual, we have most of the steps in our minds, but we just bypass a few of them if we don't have time, or if, because we think there wasn't much activity on that. So this month-end checklist allows you to really focus on what is important, but also on what you have to do in your company. If you bypass something, that's okay, maybe, but we will leave sort of an audit trail there that, okay, that month we didn't do it because of this reason. Or we can add notes to the checklist now, and it's all stored in a little database here that we can refer back to it and understand why we haven't done that for a few months now. So how does this work? Well, basically it starts from a master checklist. If this is the first time you're using the module, we already created a master list for you. So that is based on our Visual experience. These are all the steps that we must do at month end. If you're a beginner or a recent user in Visual, Some of the steps may be too complicated, too complex, like for example, pre-costing utilities audits or using costing tools. Those are more advanced features, but they, at a certain point, they must be included in your checklist, because those features, those visual functions, ensure that we have accurate information. So those are part of the checklist. And from the master checklist, we create our own. How? By copying or adding the tasks to the checklist. So we can add all the tasks at once, so we can just copy everything over, or we can add what we want. So for example, we have American companies on the session today, and we have Canadian companies. For American companies, updating the foreign exchange rate might not be relevant, but for Canadian companies, it is. So that is a must do on the checklist for a Canadian company. So if you do not need certain steps, if you are doing them differently, you can also change the description of the task. So we can change any of the wording here. We can change the sequence, the sequential order. But the important thing is that we have a checklist to follow at month end. Once we have that checklist built up, we start assigning those tasks to the team members. And I have clients who have just one team member, just one person doing all, which is a lot, but that is the reality. And I have clients who have 3 sites, for example. And so in any of those circumstances, the checklist becomes very relevant. If there is one person, then the tasks will be assigned to that person only. But I found that by finance people, sometimes we know somebody else we need to call somebody else to find the information. And that somebody else can be in the checklist. So it doesn't need to be the financial team necessarily. It could be the manufacturing manager, because if there is 0 quantity on hand or a negative quantity on hand, we cannot solve it ourselves. We need other areas to collaborate. So we could assign that step to the manufacturing manager or to the inventory manager. So that team is not set in stone. It's not the financial team. It could be any of the members of your organization. Now, the team is built here, and it could be a visual user, or you don't need to use the visual user ID. You can just use any name. Once we have the checklist built by person, then we can segregate this checklist and just email it to the person that is going to do the work. I can email the whole list as well at the beginning of the process, and so everybody is aware that the month end has started, and then we can just send progress through email, or everybody can just log into the app to see what is the next task that they have to do. Once a task is started, we usually turn it on. We change the status to in progress. And that indicates that we started working on that specific activity. When the checklist starts being dynamic, we use the dashboard. The dashboard gives visibility, and again, we go back to visibility, to the progress, to where we are at on the month-end process. So we have, in this case, for example, 20 tasks to complete at month-end. For this month-end, we have 1 completed. So the first one has been turned or changed to done. And then we have 1 with issues. So what is that? So with issues, this is something we've changed over time. Once users starting providing feedback, because it's good to have visibility of things where I'm stuck. I cannot progress because I'm missing certain information. So that flag there tells the manager right away that maybe someone else can help on this type of activity, or maybe I have to make a call to escalate that question to get the information we need. So through this dashboard, you can have visibility of the status of the tasks and who is doing what. how many activities have been completed, and we can estimate how far we are from closing. So in order to actually change the status of a task, I just need to change it from the task progress column. And as soon as I do that, you can see that the dashboard will refresh and it will provide more real-time information. And every time we make a change, obviously, we need to save it. The other important feature here is that users can add notes. So if I have an issue in closing, for example, I can just say, didn't receive the information, for example. And that is visible to everybody. So everybody can see what the user has noted there and what the issue is, and we can say need to call the bank. And maybe the user cannot make the call as someone else is a manager. So that brings visibility to the whole team of where we are at, what we need to do, and what's left to do. In the long run, the goal is to start improving the month-end closing. No more than, we should not spend more than 3, 4, 5 days in closing month-end in Visual. Otherwise, the information becomes obsolete, right? So we just need to finish all these reconciliations, all this costing in 5 days, more or less. So the idea is to keep track of that progress and be able to compare our progress that we've done this month versus the previous month and be the most efficient possible. So that's why we have dashboards built in as well, other type of dashboards that will tell you the status by period. So that is basically the month end that I wanted to show you. The other module here is the gross profit. We've done some enhancements as well. We have 2 gross profits on the screen that I'm going to show you. So the manufacturing and the financial gross profit. I hear lately that there are some shipment exceptions or work order exceptions that are caused by certain activity in the database. So for example, I had a client last week who was seeing shipment and work order exceptions, and we found out that the purchase burden was not getting recorded on the financial side. So we had to use obviously costing tools and the visual fixes to fix that. Also, we discovered that some issues with the labor and the burden activity where some information was missing on the operation side of the labor tickets. So by comparing the gross profit from the financial side and the manufacturing side, or the transaction activity versus the posted activity, we get a lot of insights. Sometimes we rely only on the financial side, which is what we see on the outcome of the financial statements, but we have to go once in a while through these reconciliations. So for example, in this case, I'm showing the financial gross profit, and that is based on posted information. So I know how much I sold, the cost, and the gross profit recorded in my GL. But also, I can compare that to the manufacturing gross profit. The manufacturing gross profit is based on the ship date. So based on what I shipped this month, how much are my sales and how much is my cost and my gross profit. So for example, in this particular case, I can easily see that I have a certain total on the manufacturing side, but if I analyze the same month, and for analyzing the same month, I have to go to the details here, or I can just do it through the summary, I have a little bit less. So 3949, and on the manufacturing side, I have 3972. So what is the difference? And here is where the detail side of the transactions will help us, because I can easily see if I'm missing something on one side or on the other. So that first line there, minus $17,000, is not on the financial side. How do I know that? Because I can easily for example, sort the information and get to compare both. Obviously, in this demo, I have less data most likely than what you have in real life. But by using, we all are very familiar with Excel and filtering, and I can easily group by customer or order ID, and we can do the comparison in a reasonable amount of time. And the good thing is I don't have to write any queries. I don't have to call IT. I don't have to think about any SQL language to be able to gather the information I need, because it's all on the screen. So it's just comparing the manufacturing and the financial side of the gross profit, sales, and cost of goods sold. And also this app is used to train your team, your sales team. It has a lot of usage basically, but from an accounting perspective, that is also a way to analyze the financial information and reconcile accounts, which is the purpose of the webinar today. And talking about that, we also created dashboards related to this gross profit. And all these dashboards are configurable. You can change them according to your needs, but they are pre-built for you on the gross profit module. All right, so that is the presentation today. I have a few more things. So looking ahead, there's more automation coming on data analysis, new predefined dashboards. We have the YouTube channel now, which is called BMS 365 e-learning tips. If you would like to subscribe to that, we're going to add way more content to that channel, and you will be able to see to get free training, not only on the apps, some tips for visual as well. And what is coming is also something called the Visual AI here. And this is it's a preview of what is coming. This is having AI on the application. So for example, if I want to ask the AI, show me sales by customer, and the AI will actually summarize that for you just by asking that question in plain English. So this is quite amazing. It's within the gross profit side. The information is totally confidential. It's not sent to the cloud or anything like that. It's all in premises. So I think this has a lot of usage if we ask, obviously, the right question to the AI. So that's all for today. It's been a pleasure to see you here. We will be in touch probably to ask you for feedback on the session and on what you've seen on the app, and also your feedback on what's coming. Thank you very much. Have a great day.